I'm making plays. I'm making hits. I'm making hits. I'm making plays. I'm making plays. I never miss. Haters gon' hate. Yeah, they gon' hate. But look at the clips. Just look at the clips. At the end of the day, I was made for this shit. Dog, I was made for this shit. Nothing but green grass in my view. Hit him for 50 yards up the middle. All of my rushes are ready to move. Tell your quarterback, head on the swivel. Came all this way, so we hungry as hell. We ain't winning, we ain't leaving the field. Overtime, now the shit getting real. Double overtime, shoot for the kill. I put it all on my shoulders. Give 100 till it's over. All of this ice in my veins. Tell me, how could there be anyone colder?
What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome to Arrowhead PM, powered by Chiefs Kingdom. We are happy to be here on Wednesday, the 21st, and with training camp over, with the preseason almost done, and with the horizon of the start of the season coming in 2 weeks. It's about to get real. I'm Dominic. We got DG in the house. We got Ethan in the house. We got Trizzy in the house. Everybody in the house.
What up?
Talk some Chiefs football, man. You can listen to this on Spotify. You're watching this on YouTube Live, X Live, Twitter, whatever you call it these days, Apple Podcasts, anywhere.
Yeah, it's Twitter.
Yeah,
it's Twitter.
But how's everybody doing today in general? How's everybody doing today? I'm doing good myself.
Can't complain, man. Can't complain, man. School's back in session, so you know. Now I'm stumbling between that, this give me a little therapy in between,
Yeah. Shout out to all the kids headed back to school, hoping and praying for a great school year. Shout out to all the parents that, getting their kids prepared for school, and shout out to the educators, man. Like Trizzy. Shout out to the educators. You guys are a big part of the community, man, and y'all do a job that I definitely can't do.
Amen.
Shout out to y'all, man.
Amen. But we got a power-packed episode to get through. Obviously, we're gonna go over the Lions game. We're gonna go over the players that we think stocks have risen for the roster, and stocks are down, and we're never gonna see them again unless you're on the practice squad. And then obviously, we're talking about the Bears preseason game, which is just let's see who can make this roster. But we got to start off with the Lions game, a 24-23 loss. Ian Book, I do not want you to be my quarterback ever in my life. You have disappointed me. I just need you a first down, and you couldn't even give me that. Come on, man. But otherwise, it was a fantastic bit of television, especially if you're a fan of Mahomes and craziness, and just great to see the whole team rocking and rolling. We will talk about the pass and the catch, but Ethan, what were your thoughts from the preseason game?
Yeah, so I mean, just real quick, two things come to mind, and that is how much fun the offense looked like they were having again. Like, we didn't see that last year. It didn't look like they enjoyed going out every time they had to go out on the field. Like, just watching, the few plays to Xavier, obviously the behind the back, just stuff like that. Like, this offense looks like the Mahomes offense that we know. And so that's one thing that I took away from that game that I was really excited about. Another thing is the special teams, kind of the unsung heroes of sorts. Like, week one preseason game, like, they were looking pretty bad. Like, I was nervous about it. And then last week we come in there, we got a fumble recovery, I believe, on kickoff. The returns are great, and they done their job covering. And so that's probably my two biggest takeaways from the Lions game that I was pleasantly surprised to see. So
what about you, Trizzy? What did you think after that game?
What up, man? Definitely cleaned it up in that second preseason game against the Lions. You can tell that the boys kind of got back in the lab a little bit. Obviously, they got more snaps, but I thought what was encouraging, like you said, I think, hearing Pat talk about that they wanted to attack the deeper parts of the field, getting those 20 to 30 yard completions, which I did call, by the way. You know what I'm saying? But just seeing us actually get back to that aspect of the game is very exciting. X might have jumped off a little bit, but it's all right. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't
We
no
ain't,
mind if he did.
you know. But still encouraging to see Pat push the ball down the field. I know we've been excited to talk about it and kind of grasp into what the speed looks like and how these guys are going to be able to be in one-on-one situations down the field and how that speed can help. But it certainly looked like he had soft hands too. I didn't see any bobbles or drops during that, which is very encouraging. And then you look at a guy like Hollywood who can do some of these same things at a veteran level. So when we get him back, it's going to be even more exciting. So I thought the offense looked polished. Shout out to Andy Reid for kind of opening it up a little bit. We seen the behind the back. We seen the motions. We seen him get Rasheed Rice involved. We seen him get some of the other guys involved. So just to see that ball distribution throughout the offense, kind of getting back to that unpredictable, covering every part of the grass again, it was exciting to watch. Defensively, obviously we're missing guys, but I thought what stood out was FAU, and I know some of you guys wanted to talk about that. I thought FAU for the reps that he gave, it looked pretty smooth. So definitely some struggles in the secondary, which we will point to in a minute. But those was just some of my early takeaways.
And what about you, DG?
Yeah, I guess it's always hard in preseason to put a lot of stock into everything because everything is just so vanilla and you don't want to put too much on tape. You don't want to give too much away before the season starts. But I think to Trizzy's point, they looked a lot more crisp this week. They looked a lot more prepared. Probably a lot less jitters for some guys out there that's like I said, that's trying to make the roster at this point. Last week it just seemed guys maybe a little bit thinking a little bit too much, kind of excited for some of them to have their first, NFL action and things of that nature. So I think things looked a lot more calm this week. It looks a
Absolutely.
lot more prepared and ready to go. Offensively, it's like I've been saying, man, from last season to the off season, man, that lack of explosion last year, those days are long gone, and you can clearly see um, the having that explosion back into your offense, what it does for opening up the middle of the field and allowing certain guys to do certain things that that they're really capable of in this offense. We've seen a good play where Xavier Worthy kind of got vertical up the field, but it left one of those middle zones open for Justin Watson to kind of sit in. And it's going to be tough for a lot of defenses in this league to match up against that, especially when you got an all-world talented quarterback, and then you got all this speed on the outside running down the field. So the middle of the field is definitely going to be able to be utilized this year, and I think it's going to make guys' jobs a lot easier. Um,
Absolutely.
Defensively, I thought that they looked aggressive this week. They looked a lot more prepared. Their defensive line looked a lot more prepared. It looked like they kind of went into this game with a little bit of attitude and knowing what they wanted to put out there as well. I know that they were playing against, of course, backups in the Lions. I don't think the Lions play their starters, but
No, they played
still,
better.
No,
at
they did
the end
not.
of the day, those guys are in the NFL as well too. So you gotta go out there and do your job. So I thought all in all, things were really cleaned up this week, and the team looked really prepared. So good to see.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. My main takeaways is that, you know, I think we've been yearning for that explosiveness since Tyreek left. And even though our offense was number one the year after Tyreek left, there was still like this. He's just being surgical throughout the entire game up until that point, and up until the point where we saw Xavier Worthy really show himself. And like Trizzy predicted, I also predicted explosive plays from Xavier Worthy, and we got to see it immediately. That first pass was a damn beauty. And his touchdown grab, I mean, that route he ran when Carson Wentz threw him the touchdown, shake and bake, got him out, got wide open. It was beautiful to see. I'm really excited to see what he does for this offense because it's just apparent. And yeah, like DT said, those were not starters, but they're still NFL guys, and we got to see it in full view. And like everybody said, they just look like they're having fun. And by the way, this was fun on cruise control. This wasn't them at their best. If they really wanted, they could have scored way faster, way better, and way more efficiently. But we got to see that explosion. We got to see probably the most viral play we will ever see in history.
Right.
He is, and based off of what how our relaunch has been, we've talked about everybody but Mahomes. Obviously, we know Mahomes is great and everything, but we're focused on how the roster is filling out so that he can be as great as he is. But we just, like a lot of people, we are taking this man's greatness for granted in more ways than none. Even Chiefs fans just being able to see he's doing basketball shit in football. A Kansas City Chief is doing basketball shit in football. Let that sink in.
Yeah.
But yeah,
there was a clip.
I wanted to highlight that for a second because Andy Reid did something that was very interesting to me. If you was on Twitter or you could see the clips of Andy Reid calling the play, he's sitting there watching it, and everybody's in the stadium going crazy. And Andy is okay. Let's go. Like that's got to be the mindset with this. Like it's fun to watch, it's cool to watch, but Andy knows it's about business. He knows that's a wrinkle that can be used for us in the deeper parts of the season, maybe, and it's something to add to it. But I love how Andy Reid just kind of, all right, it's over with. You had fun. Let's get back to business. I think that's the most important thing.
100%. And it's the mindset of getting this three-peat to happen. It's a historic throw, even though it's preseason, because it just him throwing it. And post game and throughout the game, he was just like, I wasn't supposed to throw that. Travis messed up his route. If you heard on the field, I was yelling at him, so I did it out of spite. Which, take that with a grain of salt, with however you feel, if that's true or not. But man, I mean, I'm about to pull this up right here so we can watch it. It was, and I got the all 22 of it. So here we go. Sharing it right now. Here we go. This is the play in question. Kelsey.
It's a perfect. Comes across like he's blocking, opens up.
Boop. Jesus Christ.
Can I get my rant real quick? Because this kind of ties into my rant.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, DG. Tell us what you got, man.
So there's been, some talks and going back and forth and things of that nature on the Twitter timelines and the social medias and stuff like that about the young guy Caleb Williams in Chicago. People comparing him to Mahomes and things
looking a little Mahomey.
Yeah. So I would like to give a message to Chiefs Kingdom. You can't really freak out about those kinds of things and get mad about those kinds of things.
Please don't. Please.
The reason being is you have the standard. You have the guy. Put the play back up there, dog. Put it back up there. Bring the play. Roll the clip. You have the standard. And when you
roll the clip, Max.
When you have the standard, you get things like this. You get the behind the back. You get special stuff like this. Because he's the guy. He's the main one. He's every quarterback is chasing at this point. Everybody's chasing Mahomes. Brady's gone. There's no one else in this league if you're a quarterback to chase at this point. And
not playing.
Even if it doesn't come up.
But
this is the thing. This is what you've been watching since 2018. When the kid came out and his first pass was a slant to Tyreek Hill for 60-something yards.
The kid he's just special, man.
This is the standard, man. This is who everybody's chasing. So the reason I say this is because I was sitting here. I don't know if you guys have watched Hard Knocks or whatever, but Hard Knocks has been really good this year with the Bears or whatever. And Caleb Williams made some plays and some throws in these last couple games, in the Bills and against the Bengals.
That trips left.
It just, I'm telling you,
Right on personnel.
there's only a couple guys in this league that they can make, that they can throw. Like it's only so many guys in this league are on the planet that can do this.
Yeah.
So when somebody does something remotely close, they're gonna compare him to Pat.
Yeah.
He's the standard guy. So don't get mad about it. Don't be upset about it. Embrace it.
Yeah.
It's a compliment. It's a compliment. I know. I think mainly with the draft evaluation of Caleb and Nick Wright glorifying he's very Mahomey. The whole comment of looking Mahomey and everything. It's on Caleb, and the comments of like I think Matthew Stafford and Aaron Rodgers are the best quarterbacks that I've ever seen, and this and that, and it all build up to like feeling like it's disrespect when in actuality just being compared to Mahomes is the compliment. That's we are the standard as a franchise, and we have the standard guy that is doing stuff we have never seen. And now, like, even Kevin Stefanski, of the Cleveland Browns head coach, he was talking about how he's a trendsetter and that you're going to see more quarterbacks start doing things like Mahomes. Now, that could be that it doesn't work in their favor because Mahomes is he is a one of one. He is a one of one type, but they're going to try to emulate it like how people are emulating Steph Curry in the NBA. Like, he is that much of a trendsetter as a talent and as a player in football. And like you said, I mean, we're just taking this shit for granted. And just it's insane because we're just as Chiefs fans, all we talk about is everybody else. It's everybody else. But then we see Pat do this shit and we're just like, what more can he do? I'm waiting for the behind the back through the legs kind of high throw at this point. Who knows?
But like, relax. All right, relax.
I really want to see him do it with the screen game. But yeah, I feel it. But otherwise, other than that, I felt like it was just a really fun game to watch. I saw great things from Nico Remigio as a punting returner. I saw some flashes from Deneric Prince. So there's like a debate about if he makes the roster, if Carson Steele makes the roster. But I saw Carson Steele return a kick, and he looked damn good. I still think he's a lock. So there's a lot of stocks rising, a lot of stocks going down. I know we wanted to talk about FAU real quick. DG, what did you have in mind for the FAU people that are like, is he the real deal? What are we getting from him?
Yeah, I still think for a lot of people, when guys get taken in the first round, there's so many expectations of them to perform at a high level immediately. And for some guys, it doesn't happen that way. I think for FAU, I really kind of believe he was a guy that was supposed to be a second round guy and, lucked up and snuck his way into the first round just because of how the board kind of fell at the point in time. I don't think a lot of people realize, like, going into the draft, a lot of these teams only have probably 15 to 20 guys that are first round picks, and there's 32 picks in the first, So I think the expectations early on are a little lofty just because of where he was picked at. But as you see, the stuff that he's been putting on film this year, you've seen the maturity and the growth that he's had in the off season of how he's been able to process what's going on out there on the field, of how he can utilize his hands at this point. If you want to run this clip back real quick, but you see that you can kind of see there's something there. You can clearly tell. It's taking that time to put it all together. It's like having the pieces of a puzzle, and you're just searching for the pieces and putting them all together at this point. but you can clearly tell the usage of his hands and what he's learned from Tamba Hali in this offseason is clearly working for him. The way he was able to kind of bend that corner and create that pressure to get Suffield to kind of step up in the pocket and get rid of the ball a little earlier than he would probably wanted to. And I think you see on this play as well, the chopping down the hands, getting around that corner, bending the edge. That I'm telling you, man, it's slowly coming together, but I really think you might have a dog here in the next 2 to 3 years, and we're gonna look up and be like, damn, FAU is really one of the better pass rushers in this league. It's what you've been needing in this offense. I mean, in this defense. I'm sorry, and you had on the other side George Karlaftis who came in and
Shout out
had
to
kind of a
George.
slow start or whatever, but was more of a um, run stuffer kind of effort kind of guy. Most of his sacks came off of effort or whatever. Combining these two guys for the foreseeable future, offensive lines are gonna have a lot to deal with on their hands. You know, especially combining that and now putting an elite guy like 95 in the middle of all of that is. Yeah, I think the Chiefs' defensive line is in good hands for the foreseeable future. Whatever, but it's coming together, guys. I just got to give it time, and I know it's hard being patient or whatever, but I'm telling you, if you watch the film, watch the clips, see what he's doing against some of these tackles in the league, you can clearly see that there's something there. So I would just say, just give it time at this point and allow him to develop the way they need him to.
Yeah. I mean, it all comes down to patience. It's just like those that are counting Sky Moore out. Guys just got to be patient. Like we expect these guys to come in and be impact players their first year, and you don't see that very often, especially when you're drafting at the end of the rounds. Like it doesn't happen as often as what people seem to think. I mean, FAU has always been kind of raw to an extent, and I think this offseason working with Tama, like he's already improved. I mean, we see it in the preseason games. Yeah, he's not getting to the quarterback just yet, but I mean, man, give him time. Like, hey, give all those young guys time. I know we are in the Super Bowl era currently, and we want to see these players come in and make an impact right away and lead us to the Super Bowl. Because that one draft class, that's what we got to expect. And so I mean, they'll be okay. We just not every player is going to pick it up right away. So the game speed's going to be different. The verbiage going to be different. Like there's a lot for them to learn and process, and even just dealing with the 17 games. The regular season games, like learning how to manage your schedules, learning how to manage their bodies accordingly. And so I, I mean, I don't know. People's always going to find something to complain about, but FAU ain't the one that I'm worried about. So
Yeah, just piggybacking off of what you guys said. Same thing. I just feel like the reps aren't there yet. I think George Karlaftis was in a different situation when he came in. Yeah, he got the chance to play right away. Obviously he started off slow and hit up Tamba Hali almost simultaneously. And there's a clip going around of Tamba Hali kind of talk about when George reached out to him, and he's talking about having Felix there in the lab with them guys. And he's showing you that Felix is getting better with his hands, and he's talking about the situations that he's put him in. Man, I think Felix is in a great situation to learn. Obviously, he's in front of two studs with Charles Omenihu being hurt right now, and then you got George Karlaftis on the other side. Those two guys was very dominant, playing very good football last year for us. So obviously, when Charles Omenihu comes back, we'll see how the rotation fades out. But I do think that right now, all things are on the table considered for FAU. If he's able to put it together with these first couple of weeks, he'll find himself deep in the rotation during the playoffs, which I think coming off of that Super Bowl, you're confident. You know what I'm saying? He started as a rookie. Guys went down. He came in that next, was able to play in that next game. That's big, for a guy to come in and play like that, especially in the postseason, in the Super Bowl when you absolutely need it. I mean, I don't know what Chiefs fans are looking at, but that's kind of hard to do. So FAU is going to get his chance to shine. I think it's just about the reps. He hasn't had the reps that George had, and I think this year you'll kind of see it pan out because he's going to get that opportunity.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. And I mean, I don't know what everybody's expectations are for FAU at this point. I think his ceiling for this year is a Mike Dana type season. But I mean, anything than what he did last year and getting more reps and just being on the field more consistently, I feel like that is improvement in and of itself based off how we were last year. And with Charles Menahue out, this gives him the opportunity to actually show up and show out. And he has been showing that ability, like you guys have said. So, I mean, I'm not terribly worried about FAU. I think he's going to have a great year. And I mean, a 4 to 5 sack season, that's a W. That's a huge addition to this defensive line. And then you get Charles Menahue back. I mean, it's the sky's the limit. Trizzy, I know you wanted to talk about the corners. And it seems like a weekly thing, but I feel like let's rap about it. Let's do this. This is like a therapy session.
Day to day. Eric Berry.
Give me a second. Bear with me, if you will. I got to come up with a different name for this.
No, I
because
love
football
it.
season is coming, and I'm not gonna say anything with the Bears. Screw the Bears. But guys, and I kind of alluded to this. I'm gonna keep alluding to it until we do something about it. Um, so let's just look into the roles of Joshua and Jalen. Obviously, you had Trent McDuffie and L'Jarius Sneed. Those guys were studs. I don't have to go deep into detail about that. I think they were the best cornerback duo in the league last year. Josh and Jalen's roles are not going to be the same this year. One of them is going to have to step into CB2, and one of them is going to have to step into CB3. Wherein usually they're used to being that CB3, CB4 kind of guy. And sometimes you might not even be in because Shamari Connor was playing so well in his nickel position, coming down in the box and disrupting plays and playing man coverage and playing very well in zone coverage. I don't think that with those two guys being the guys that came in, and we kind of brought Trent McDuffie in for reasons like that because we did not want those two guys on the outside trying to lock in with those guys being there. No disrespect to those guys, but they're hurt right now. And they've played very well in our system. No, you know what I'm saying? I have to give my flowers where they do. We've seen Josh and Jalen take tremendous leaps in this defense. Absolutely. But I think right now, the role is just a little bit too serious for what's going on with them. Two injuries that don't just that you can just tape away and that you can treat away. These are lingering injuries, and these are things that can also, lead to you being out a little longer. So the remedy in that is you have young guys who are fighting to kind of show coach what they can do, but the problem is consistency. Najee Johnson is a guy that I feel like is for that position. He's getting back into his steps because he's still coming back from an ACL. That's another slippery slope. Kamal Hayden, the draft pick out of Tennessee, another guy that's gonna get back into the rotation. Obviously, he's learning the defense, and I think that's where you're seeing. Okay, everybody was excited for him. This guy's a steal, but he's still coming back slowly but gradually. I think he's a guy to look out for. Kelvin Joseph, he's another guy who got an opportunity in camp and was proven to do well. He had some few reps against some guys that got some guys turning some heads. He started to make noise in training camp. However, these guys haven't proved consistent because if they have, we have a CB2 by now. And then I don't like the reports of us looking at a vet when Stephon Gilmore was just on the board not a week ago. Things like that, I feel like if you know they're an issue, then let's address them. I'm not saying that we have to be a top 10 cornerback unit or a top 5 pass defense. I know that it's going to look different, obviously, with the additions on the offensive side of the ball. Shout out to Kingsley. That guy's good. But I feel like now this pass defense is kind of being like, oh, it's all right. We got Chris Jones, or we got Nick Bolton, or we got Leo Chanel, or we got Shamari Connor, and the promising Jaden Hicks and what he can do. But let's remind everybody that what we're doing right now is an historic peak that nobody's done. And I don't feel like that we need the best defense or the best secondary, but I do think we need guys to come firm. And I just don't know if Jalen and Joshua are those guys, especially if they're banged up. what are the questions? What are the answers? Um, I feel like, can those two be trusted? Are one of those guys good enough to step into that role and be efficient? Can we continue to blitz Trent McDuffie? Is the way that he's going to play different? Is going to hurt our defense? Is Jaden Hicks really the guy that we think he is? It's so many questions lingering. I think the front seven is very dominant. And I think those guys are going to be good no matter who you put back there. Shout out to Justin Reed. He's coming back from injury. He gave us a thumbs up about week one. But it's a serious concern for me not having a guy there who we believe can show consistency. It's a question. It's a linger mark. I do think Jaden Hicks can come in and patch up some of that stuff with his physicality and just the stuff I've seen from him coming downhill. But I think the question doesn't lie necessarily with the players. I think this is going to be with the way Spag schemes up and the way that he does things. Does missing a guy like Legarius take away that blitzing threat from Trent McDuffie? Does Jaden Hicks come in and chase and kind of replace that blitzing formations and stuff like that? The stuff that Spags like to dial up and get sneaky with. Can Jaden Hicks be a guy like that? I'm not sure if he's gonna be on on a first team all pros level. I don't think that's fair to ask of him to come in and do some stuff like Trent McDuffie did. So the question really lies with Spags. Do I think he can get it done? He has the resume for it, absolutely. But these are just lingering questions for me. They're lingering concerns. And with the injuries in the defensive room, especially at linebacker, Chris Jones got a shoulder injury. These injuries are starting to pile up way before the season starts. So I feel like having a guy that can shore up that position would only bode well for the defense. But we'll see how it plays out.
So, Trizzy, you said one key name there that I want to bring back up, and that would be
the Spags.
In Spags we trust there. So I'm obviously losing Legarius. That's a big thing, but we'll be okay. Last year before the season, I said we'd have a top 3 defense. This year, I'm going top 5. I don't think it'll be quite as good, just because obviously, like, we lost one of the best lockdown corners last year. So, these guys, yeah, they haven't shown a whole lot of consistency, but they also haven't got to play consistently either. So, you don't know what these guys are going to amount to until they walk out there on that field. And Spags is, first couple years here in KC, he didn't have the greatest corners. So I'm not worried about it, man. I get people's concerns just by looking at who we lost and all that. I get it, but this defense, this defense, so they're going to be fine. We just need the pass rush to get home, put some pressure on the QB, and let the DBs control things, 3 seconds, 4 seconds at most. That's all we need. And I understand that's a tall task, but it's a realistic task. And we've seen this defensive line be able to do that. So,
yeah,
it just sounds like we're kind of spoiled.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree. I don't know. We don't know what that looks like, especially with Charles Omenihu being hurt. The defensive line depth is not as strong. Going into a team that was allowing the less points in the playoffs in NFL history, I think, or top 3 in that category. So I don't know if you can say it's the same right now. I do think we can get back to that level, but the beginning of the season with a week 6 bye and the first 3 games are against tough opponents. I feel like those things are just, that's why those things are kind of lingering more so than not.
Yeah, I agree. I think the main thing for them is they're just gonna have to go out there and rely on what the best part of that unit is at this point, and that's the defensive line. It's gonna be up to guys like Chris Jones and George Karlaftis and Mike Dana and FAU and Charles Omenihu and all those guys to kind of pitch in and really create some havoc, for the quarterback back there. Make it a lot less time because you can only cover for so long. So if the defensive line isn't really getting home, and then you're really leaving your corners really vulnerable in the passing game. But I understand your concern as well, Trizzy. It's at this point it was gonna be light years to to try to replace a guy like L'Jarius Sneed and what he was able to do last year for us in this defense. So I don't want to even put those kind of expectations on Jalen Watson or Josh Williams at this point. Just going into their third year?
Yeah, third
year. Yeah, going into the third year. So I think at this point, it could be beneficial for the Chiefs to explore what's out there on the market this time. I know a guy like Xavier Howard is available. A guy like
what up, Cal?
Is available.
Appreciate you tuning in.
But those guys, you kind of want. I mean, you want to bring them in and see what they got, but then could they turn out to be just as bad?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and they got to fit the system. Bro.
Yeah, and I would have loved to have Stephon Gilmore be a part of this team. I just think the main issue with that was just probably the money at that point in time. Still, when you're trying to sign younger guys on your team like a Creed Humphrey and trying to pay a Nick Bolton or whatever, that may be a route that you think, yeah, we could take, but it could hinder us, from signing somebody who's a lot younger with a lot more potential at this point in time. So should we just go ahead and trust, what we have in the building already? But yeah, man, it's gonna be tough. Definitely a lot to prove for those two guys, out there in Josh and Jalen. So it's kind of just we'll wait and see, and if we have to address it in the middle of the season, then it is what it is.
Yeah, I guess I'm kind of on the Ethan side of this discussion because I just gotta see it in a real regular season game before I make some assumptions about how this is gonna play out. Obviously, preseason is preseason, and we get to see. And we get to see just kind of the reps and like the potential of what they have. But unless we see these problems in the regular season, I'm just gonna be on the side of caution of just like I gotta see it to believe it kind of deal. And I feel like we still got Trent McDuffie, and we still Nazi Johnson has been showing good signs in camp when he was playing. It's gonna be interesting to see how we tackle it against the Ravens, especially. But
yeah.
I mean, I just gotta see it. I gotta see if this CB room really is as tortured as it might be. But even last year when Spags was talking about the CB room, he was kind of on the air of caution as well. I know this year and last year are completely different, but I'm just gonna watch. I'm gonna be optimistic. I feel like this has a top 10 defense minimum written all over it, and I feel like the way that Brett Veach and the draft went, we have filled out the spaces that we needed to, get and see if we can tackle it head on. I mean, Jaden Hicks, like you said, is playing really great. Kamal Hayden has potential. He was going to be a first-round draft pick if he didn't get injured. And Nazi Johnson, I mean, we haven't seen it yet, but he still has that ability to really be a game wrecker. So I think I'm just going to be optimistic and see where that goes. But to transition away from the corners really quick, I think a guy that we really need to talk about, and a guy that we kind of knew as soon as he was drafted was going to be the future blindside tackle for Mahomes, and that's Kingsley Sumaia. I don't know if I even said that right, but my Samoan tribal chief, my left tackle, it wasn't perfect, but he got the job done. I'm gonna show some film of our guy Kingsley, and the first thing I'm gonna show is also glazing Xavier Worthy for that 39-yard catch. So, here we go. This is from the broadcast view of not broadcast view, but this is from like the booth view. You can see Kingsley on the far right, obviously as the left tackle.
This is the Worthy play?
Yeah, this is the Worthy play for 39 yards. I'm going to play a little slower for everybody so that we get full. Yeah. So here we go. This is the play in question with the motion. Mm-hmm. And as you watch Kingsley, And I think this has a little bit to do with Mahomes too. He kind of like sidesteps into Kingsley a little bit, but it gives him enough time to get Worthy that wide open and execute a great play.
Yeah.
Kingsley had a fantastic game, in my opinion, and it wasn't perfect. I'm not asking for perfect left tackle play, you know, because that's only reserved for like guys like Trent Williams. But I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Touching on Kingsley.
Go ahead,
Oh,
Trace.
go ahead, DG. Okay. I'll be quick. I know Kingsley was one of the guys that I was excited about as far as draft goes, and like I've been saying, I know that we had some pretty good drafts as far as Brett Veach goes, but I think this is one of his better ones, top to bottom. I know we had some stars like Trent McDuffie and George a couple years ago. We obviously got some guys who can contribute, Shamari Connor, all these different guys. But if you just kind of go back and peek at this, and look at our needs. I think that was really the problem with our offense. Not having that left tackle and time to develop is just costing you certain time, certain rhythm with plays that you need time to develop with. I think Kingsley gives you back that wrinkle. Um, I'm not saying that he's an all world, but I do think he's a future star. He's a guy that's going to continue to be great. What happened?
No, he was talking about Niang. If you
Yeah,
go
it was
back and
pretty
watch it,
bad.
Niang
Oh
got
man.
smoked.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do think with Kingsley being a second round pick, we seen kind of that draft board and we didn't know if Kingsley would be there for us in the second round, but he was a guy that everybody definitely wanted, and it's for a reason, and he's showing it. Him being able to sit in the pocket like that, continue to push his guy out and give time Pat to throw. You see, Pat is going to he's going to give you a chance to trust. He's going to see if he can trust you, and I think you've seen his comfortableness in that. Kingsley's been getting after it to it. I think he had like an 80-point pass block in PFF this week, one of the top. So to see that, kind of see the hype around Kingsley and all the stuff that's been thrown on him in training camp, the offense is crazy, and I'm sure Andy Reid has been with him day and night. But for him to be able to come in and man that role with the three guys on that line with him, and then you think about Jawan Taylor after he cleans the penalties up. I think we're looking at one of the best offensive line units in the league, if not top three. I think the inside interior, those three guys, I think they're the best in the business. I think Jawan Taylor's a little bit better than what he gets credit for. I think his penalties were only highlighted because he's a Kansas City Chief and he's playing on national TV every week. So
100%.
the Jaguars don't, they don't show them that much. Unfortunate, but when you're getting aired on the Chiefs and things like that start to get highlighted by different commentators and guys of the football world, then the refs start to throw the flag. Then everybody's kind of, alluding to the fact, well, why we pay him all this money? And then you go back and look at his numbers without those penalties and without those false starts. The guy's been solid. So if we can get another guy on the left side to give us a little bit more time, that I think Kingsley does, he's going to be a good guy in this league. He's in the right team to develop him as far as offensive linemen go, because we know that's one of Andy Reid niches as well. So it's a guy that we can continue to build on. I think offensively, I think we nailed it right on the nose with Kingsley and Worthy pickup. And also shout out to Jared Wiley from TCU. He's going to be another guy that's going to be in great usage. But Kingsley is going to be a guy that's going to give us that time. He's going to let these fast receivers be able to win down the field. And that only means great things for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I think two things you can take away from what you've seen from Kingsley on Saturday was just the awareness to not panic. You see a lot of rookie tackles come into this league and they
Panic
get
and
to a point where
respond.
they get beat and they panic a little bit. Just knowing that there's some pass rushers, like I said, in this league that know the ins and outs of the game and do some quirky things to throw off a tackle or whatever. But uh, the ability and the awareness to not panic from him was very impressive. Me, in my opinion, very light on his feet as well too. I love the
Very
way
light.
he uses his feet.
Yeah.
You can clearly tell he never stops. Like just on this play right here, never stops using his feet. I think a lot of people look at tackle play and they think, well, he's got to be strong. He's got to be this. He's got to, he's got to have the strength to do this. And
He's athletic. He can move. I
yeah,
like that.
like watch his feet on this play, man. Like, you know,
Boom,
Jesus
hands, boom,
Christ.
it's,
I
feet.
mean,
I mean, good. I
the,
mean, that's
and then the
what could you
just
do better than that?
there was a play earlier, I think on the 39-yard catch that Xavier Worthy had. He got beat, and you can clearly
Yeah, he
see
did.
he got beat. But
But he
you
stuck
can
with
tell
it.
the difference between him and a Niang who gets beat off the edge.
Yeah.
Watch the awareness, like I said, to not have panic, but also to reset your feet as well too. You can clearly see that this kid's got a
Oh, this
lot
is
of
the wrong one.
still even that play. Like that's but that stuff he's going to be able to bring to this offense, that raw athleticism for them to get out there on the edge, but the ability that if he goes up against one of these speed rushers in the league, he's got the awareness with his feet to reset, not panic, and still stay within the play. That play he's beat. Like
Yeah.
he's beat off the first initial move, but you see the resetting of the feet, just
That's
not a lot
Tooney
of.
at the guard, right?
No, that's Caliendo, I think.
Caliendo,
yeah,
yeah.
it's
Caliendo?
Caliendo.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. He's Tooney's still out. I remember.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He'll be back week 1,
But yeah.
Baltimore.
Go ahead, Ethan.
So
What was you about to say?
I was just gonna say I don't have a whole lot to talk on Kingsley. I mean, you guys have pretty well covered it. One thing I will say is if you look at him and his
Hey,
athleticism,
Carmita.
that's something that Orlando Brown always struggled with going against speed
Mhm.
rushers, and I think that's something that he can kind of excel at, and that's something we need. The AFC, not even just the AFC, the NFL as a whole. These defensive ends are getting smaller; they're getting quicker every
Mhm.
year, and so when you get a chance to grab a athletic left tackle, I think that like we did, that's going to be huge for years to come. And so the only thing I will say is I wish that the Lions had played Hutchinson just so we could have seen
See,
a few
yeah.
reps,
Mhm.
and I understand why they didn't, obviously, but that's what I'm excited to see. Get into the season and see him go up against the likes of like Max Crosby and some of these guys, and so he's still got a lot of room to grow. And it kind of goes back to what we was talking about earlier, being patient with him. I mean, he's going to have some bad reps, he's going to lose some reps, and so just
Look at
fans
that.
understanding that and realizing that he is so
He
young.
just
That was
trucks that
nasty.
dude.
Nasty. But
Look, it's just and then to add on top of it the nastiness, man. Like you know, we're,
Yeah,
we're
he's
gonna
hitting him out there.
we're gonna start up here with this defensive tackle at the line, and then we're gonna get out on the edge, and we're just gonna take this little bitty corner out of here and just remove him. Yeah, we'll eliminate him. We'll eliminate him too, and then you got Xavier where he can hold on to the ball X. But
Jesus.
he was down
it's
with him.
just he was the ability to do that is going to open this offense up a lot more. I know that as players like Isaiah Pacheco and Xavier Worthy coming around on that edge and having 76 run out there in front of you, knowing he's going to clear the way, knowing he's going to be able to keep up, I think is going to help this offense out a lot. Having like going back to your point, Ethan, about having Orlando Brown here, you just couldn't do those type of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's no
Fact.
knock against Orlando, but it's
Yeah,
just
no doubt.
the athleticism wasn't there as much as it is like so I appreciate what Kingsley has
And
been
that was
able to
a
put on tape,
dive
and
from Carson Wentz. Oh my
yeah, that
goodness.
was. But look at the time he gets, and initially this is another rep where Kingsley kind of gets beat on the
Stutter step.
inside, outside, yeah, but still is able to kind of recover because of his feet and his
Right.
athleticism allows him to do that. So it doesn't have to
Carson,
look
yeah,
pretty.
man.
It doesn't have to be perfect. We need this kid. We need this kid to not be bad
Yeah.
this year. Just don't be bad. And
Shout
I
out to
think we'll be
Carson Wentz, man. He played very
yeah.
well in that Lions game when I seen that he got about 2 or 3 series where I thought he moved the ball really well. We seen obviously the finish on the drive with the touchdown to X. He was making some great throws out there. He had another one to Cornell Powell. I mean, no, that wasn't him. That was a little guy. But yeah, those two
Oladukin, yeah.
guys. Yeah, Oladukin, those two guys. I said a little guy. But those guys played really well. Shout out to those two men to come in and kind of pick up where Pat left off, even though we didn't quite get in the end zone. I thought those guys came in and played well, especially Carson Wentz behind that first team offensive line. So it's cool to get those reps in and to know that we got a guy we can trust.
Real quick, but because I know we're getting close to the end time, but a guy that I really wanted to talk about and I think was interesting is that there is now a debate for the 3 running backs in the running back room. And I think Deneric Prince made one hell of a case. Again, a prediction that I made was he gets over 30 yards. He got over 30 yards on one run, and I'm about to show it in a quick second. But Deneric Prince, he got a lot of hype last year in training camp from just the videos and everything. And, he didn't produce, and he was a practice squad guy, but he's really shown some flair. And I'm really excited to see what comes of it. I know Carson Steele made a huge impact game 1, and I feel like he made a lot of great plays here in game 2. I mean, Carson Steele had a fumble recovery that was fantastic, and a couple of returns also. So, but I feel like Deneric Prince, he gets talked about, but not talked about enough. I'm gonna show it on this play here.
He's another one of those Twitter all training camp first team, second team guy that
The rail.
everybody loves so much. This is probably one of the better plays I've seen from Deneric Prince. Boom, hits the outside shoulder. Watch him hit the gap. Perfect. I haven't seen Deneric Prince run like that since the first time he got talked about last year.
Ethan Driscoll.
Yeah, Ethan Driscoll was out there kicking butt.
Destroyed that.
Like, I don't know what that kid was thinking, but this is a perfect play call right here. I love this play call by Matt Nagy. I don't know who called it, Andy or Matt, but boom, it's a draw. He gets into his outside, boom, it hits that gap. That's
great block by
perfect.
Wiley too.
Yeah, and I
even though
love
it
that.
didn't really affect
Love
the
to see
play.
that.
I
Yeah,
just
man.
want to.
Well, that was more so blocking, but I like what Prince did when he finished up that gap and got that extra 10. But yeah, shout out to the scheme, man. That was a great play call.
I just want to know what's going through number 40's mind as he sees 6'8" Ethan Driscoll
A business decision.
coming down the field. Like I know this is probably a guy that's probably trying to make the roster, right? And he's like, oh man.
Watch them 2 steps.
Should I do it?
I'm cool. That boy said, "Nah, I'm gonna take them 2 steps. I'm good, coach."
Oh man.
Well, the context was like it was 1st and 20, and they made up that play in one play. It was fantastically drawn up by Matt Nagy and everything, but it really got the conversation of like who should get that running back 3 spot based on the performance. And personally, I still feel like Carson Steele got the job, but that's what this Bears game this weekend, tomorrow. Holy shit, it's tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
The Bears game tomorrow is going to be all about. It's Mahomes isn't playing. I mean, the stars aren't playing, but it's going to be are there players that you want to see play this game specifically that you feel like, okay, everyone's saying they're going to make the roster, but I really need to see something more. And that's not alluding to somebody, by the way. But Ethan, how about you go first, buddy?
No, I mean, hey, look, I want to see Ross on this roster. If he doesn't make it, he doesn't make it. Like I said earlier in the space today, if he doesn't make it, I hope he goes to a team where they're going to use him, and I hope he gets used against the Chiefs. So that is what it is. Outside of him, someone that I want to see get several reps is Kadarius Toney. We know what he is. We know the struggles that he's had. But I think this is his last chance to make a case for being on that 53. I don't think that he's a lock by absolute no means right now to make it, obviously. And so he has a chance to go out there and show why he should be on there. And that's one person that I want to see get a big opportunity. Another one, Sky. It's hard to go outside of that wide receiver room and the DB room for players that you want to see get opportunities. And so I mean, I hate these preseason games. I get the purpose of them, but it's hard to tell. I mean, you look at a guy like Nico, what he does to defensive, third string players. And it's like, okay, can that translate to first string players? And so, hey, and that's no knock on Nico. I know that there's a whole fan base of Nico fans starting with right down there. So I'm just saying, I want to see I wish we could see these guys get opportunities against guys that are actually NFL ready. And so it is what it is.
Yeah. Ethan, we're gonna be on the quarter and tails thing of this all season, man. Look, you know what Dave Tubb said in his interview? He said, I'm pounding the table for Nico Remigio. I love that kid. If Dave Tubb wants him there, let's see what the kid brings. And you mentioned the Scott Moore thing, and I kind of alluded to the fact that, look, Scott Moore's had his blow at it. He's had his pipe dream. Scott Moore, starting receiver, come out, do nothing. Like, I want to see Nico Remigio be the guy. Not saying that Scott can't be the guy. Not saying that Scott doesn't have the tools. I know he does. But can he be consistent? We've seen the story tell, and the maybe he's in the wrong position. I don't care where he puts you out on the field. Make a play.
Yeah.
And I've seen Nico do that. And I would love to see a guy
Third
like
string.
that get in this offense. Get in this offense. He came back with the vets to training camp, just so you know. So he'll be on that 53-man roster. He'll be the main kick return guy, but I think Andy Reid and Pat love to see him in some of those packages where, yeah, your famous Scott Moore guy would have been.
I agree, Kyle. I don't think Sky's job is in question at all. Just want to make that clear. I don't see a world where,
maybe because
Andy
of
or Brett
Hollywood's
Veach want to get
injury.
rid of him.
Maybe because of Hollywood's injury, but he's no world beater. If Hollywood wasn't hurt, will we be seeing Sky in some of these packages?
But we're talking about wide receiver 5 and 6. They're not going to be a
wide receiver
world
5
beater.
is Nicole Hardman. He's locked that. They didn't bring him back to
Is
cheer.
he?
Yeah, he's locked. He's coming back.
I ain't so sure on that one. Sky's on this team. I'm telling you right now. Like, don't be disappointed when you see Sky Moore on that 53 because it's
I won't be disappointed because I know Nico gonna be on it too, and he's gonna be on the field. I won't be disappointed at all.
Go ahead.
He's gonna be on the practice field.
Yeah, where Scott should be.
Who muted my mic? Damn it. I think me and DG have alluded to this a couple of times, but we are in the camp of I feel like Sky hasn't been given the best opportunity to really showcase what he's done. And he is a second round pick. And I feel like Brett and Andy are not going to give up on this pick. I think it's easier to give up on Kadarius Toney than it is to give up on Sky Moore. And if Kadarius Toney wants to even be considered running back 3 or 4, he's better have the goddamn game of his life if he wants to make this roster. And he probably won't. And that's okay. But with Sky, I just feel like he was never put in a position to succeed. And CJ, you are correct. You are correct. We got
rich people problems.
Yeah. But I mean, I think Sky's got a lot on the table. I know I keep mentioning this game. I keep mentioning the Sunday Night Football game where Sky Moore stood in for Juju Smith-Schuster, and he played an outstanding game. and that was when we were the number 1 offense in the league. And I feel like that ability is still there. They put him at wide receiver 2 last year, and I don't think that's where he's meant to be. Now you have low expectations for wide receiver 5 or 6. You let him do a couple plays. If he gets a Justin Watson type season or even lower, no one's complaining. It's wide receiver 5 and 6. I think the main battle right now, it's not between Sky and Nico. It's between Justin and Nico. And it just depends on if you want a guy that can catch 50-50 balls or if you want consistency. And you don't know which one you're going to get. Because even like this past preseason game, Justin Ross caught a great ball. If his other foot was in the dirt correctly, that would have been a huge play. He's the only one on the team that has that. So, I mean, I think Sky is a lock, and that's just the reality. I think Brett is never going to give up on it because he sees the upside.
And the thing with Sky too is he's still younger than Nico. He's still younger than Rashid. Justin Ross. Like Sky's still a young guy. He's got plenty of time to develop. Like it goes back to the FAU. I mean, he's got 4 years on his rookie contract. Take all 4 years. Yeah, it's like the FAU discussion earlier. Like,
what do you mean?
We got to be
been here 2 years.
I mean 4 years in total, but
we're talking about
we got to be patient with these players. We can't expect them all to come in and be fucking 1,000-yard receivers their first year, second year.
I would love to see that J. Ross guy on the field though. I think his body of work in college, kind of benefited him and coming into the league and probably one of the best situations. I think the fact that Veach still had this guy in the building, after the injuries, after the incident, keeping him through another training camp, seeing what he can bring. I think he's getting healthier. I don't think he's a guy that's fighting for that spot at all. I think he's fighting for that 6th spot. We'll see how it pans out. But I think Justin Ross has all the things that you will fall in love with when you look at a receiver. He has the possession, he has the feet, he has the hands. So it's just about him being consistent, finding a way to fight his way onto the field. Once they give you that opportunity, man, go out and take it. And I think that's what the Chiefs want to see from J. Ross, and I think you'll probably get it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, DG. Real quick.
You good. The only thing I'm looking forward to seeing tomorrow is kind of the O-line depth. Seeing some of those guys get out there and show us something. Hopefully, that's really good. Just to kind of see where we are depth-wise and, in case somebody goes down or something like that, can they step in and be serviceable at least at that point. So looking at that, and then I think Kadarius Toney probably is fighting for his life tomorrow night to be on this roster as well. I think that's the only, for me, in my opinion, that's the only guy I see that's fringe at this point. I know, of course, there's the questions of Nico and Justin Ross and Sky Moore and stuff like that, but I really think Kadarius Toney is fringe, like hanging on by a thread to this roster right now. So we'll wait and see, but that's the only thing I'm looking forward for tomorrow. So.
Well, the players I'm looking forward to see, and I'm gonna allude to this where we're doing some quick predictions because the panel is kind of hot right now. Not gonna lie, but you know what? It's the 3rd preseason game. No starters. We're just seeing some guys trying to make the team, right? Bucket. I want to see LRZ. Put him in. Let him do the shit. Let's see what happens. I don't care. Call me a troll. It's fine. I want to see the tush push. I want to see him try to get through a gap. I know he's experimental and I know he's not making the roster, but it's the 3rd preseason game. It doesn't matter in the long run. We're still going to see Carson Steele. We're still going to see Deneric Prince get reps. It's going to happen. We're going to see Ingram. We're still going to see Ingram. It's okay to watch this Welsh guy try to run through a gap. It's not like he's taking people's jobs, all right? He's signed to the team. Just let it happen. So I and predicting
Oh my God.
20 yards from LRZ. 20.
It's crazy that you think that's a high number for him.
I cannot
player.
It's a high number to me.
I
I
cannot
thought he
wait.
was gonna
High
say
number
like 50 or something. He said 20.
Well, I have to set the bar low because once he goes off for 80 yards,
Yeah.
Manny's gonna go off,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
But
love where your expectations are.
So I say LRZ gets 20 yards. I think Nico is gonna have a good game. I think Nico gets 50 yards receiving, and then a touchdown. I'm gonna go with Oladukin with a rushing touchdown.
Okay.
Trizzy, what do you got?
Yeah, what you got, Triz?
the guy I want to see, not sure how much he's gonna play. But 1-3, you know what I'm saying? Nazi is the man with the plan. He's the man that writes the prescription. He's the man that antes out the drugs. He's the guy that you need to go talk to. I want to see some good stuff from 13. I want to see him looking healthy. I want to see the feet moving. I want to see the hands chopping. I want to see the hips dropping. If not, looks like it's gonna be Joshua or Jalen, and I personally do not want to sign up for that show. So I want to see that guy be good. The Taylor kid, number 39, he played very well last week. He had a pick. See if he can capitalize on that game. Um, so I would have to go for a touchdown. I am gonna go have. I think Cornell Powell touches the end zone one more time. Shout out to CP14, the champ. It was cool to see that from him, man. I know
All
he's been
practice
going
squad,
through it
baby.
all practice squad, but you know what I'm saying? My boy did get in there and do that. And I know that was exciting for him, just to make sure that, to make a play like that, especially in the preseason when you want to see these guys come in and make plays like that. So I thought that was important. But scratch me down for a red zone Ross, red zone, floated up to the side, see what he can do with it. Book me for that. Also, book me for a Jared Riley score. Not sure how much he's going to play because he's going to be in that Ravens game a ton. But if that's what I had to predict, that's what I had to predict. And if what I want to see, 1-3, you my guy now. All right.
All right, Ethan, what you got?
Yeah, what you got, Ethan?
I had something cooked up until I seen Ross's comment, and now I can't even go on. No, so Lad gets a TD. Anyway, so I'm looking for Kadarius Toney to get 68 yards and a touchdown.
That's not bad.
Like all purpose, like it doesn't matter if it's rush or receiving.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
68
Okay, respect.
And then I'm looking at, Trizzy already covered one of them, a Justin Ross touchdown.
Jump ball.
Yes, sir. And let's see. Defensively, I would go. Let me get a
Let's
FAU.
throw a Felix Sack in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let me get a FAU
Let's throw
sack.
a Felix Sack in there. Come on, FAU.
I'm gonna go a little bit higher. 1.5 sacks for FAU this week.
Okay. That's bold.
And DG, who you got? DG is muted.
Your mic.
There you go. Oh, shit.
Nope.
Well,
I got you,
no,
DG.
I was gonna say what pretty much what Ethan said. I was probably gonna go lean towards FAU getting a sack, just off of what he's been showing us these last couple weeks. So I'm gonna stick with that. I guess another prediction. I'll say I think Deneric Prince probably put together another good game as well too, and really forces the coaching staff to have to make some hard decisions in that running back room. So we'll see how it goes, but definitely looking forward to tomorrow.
Yeah, I can see another good game making that running back too a little bit more highlighted than it usually has been since these last couple weeks.
Yep.
I got two more real quick. in their last ones. They could be a little jokey. Matt Dickerson, big game. Let's see it. 2, Ian Book's gonna throw an interception. I think it's
Book the anytime interception for Ian Book.
Yeah, Ian, book it, baby. But in all positivity, it's been.
I got an Ian Book touchdown. How about that?
Okay.
I got you.
We'll see.
Me versus Trizzy. I can't wait to see that. All right, here we go. Guys, thank you so much for watching and listening today. You can check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you can listen to podcasts. We are streaming currently on Kingdom Cast YouTube page. Shout out to Kingdom Cast and shout out to Chiefs Kingdom for sure.
Cast.
We are powered by Chiefs Kingdom. We are thankful to be here. Check us out on Twitter. All the spaces, all the time. Spaces on Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you want to talk Chiefs football, if you want to talk any kind of football, we're here for you. And, this Bears game is going to be fun to watch, especially if you're interested in some of the players that you are really rooting for to make the roster. If Caleb Williams says another thing bad about Mahomes, he's probably going to throw himself in that game and throw a behind the back touchdown. Who knows at this point? But, guys, thank you so much for listening. We're going to see you guys next week. We got a special guest. We are going to bring in a Ravens fan, a huge Ravens fan, and I forget her name. I'm going to try to look it up.
It's Gina.
Gina. Yes, Miss Gina. It's going to be an awesome episode. I, unfortunately, will not be there because I'm about to have a baby, and I'm going to be focusing on that. I had to plug that in. But, guys, we really appreciate it. We'll see you guys next week, and let's get this 3-peat, y'all. See you, Chiefs Kingdom.
I'm making plays. I'm making hits. I'm making plays. I never miss. Haters gon' hate.